McDonough for the Devil's Puck Luck podcast, breaking it down, some live look-ins here, 2 periods down, Danny, and inarguably, the best performance over the first 40 minutes for the New Jersey Devils so far.
Yeah, listen, we're playing tough. We're playing like our life is on the line with this series, which it is. You know, this isn't obviously a must-win, but in all reality, it is a must-win. Down 2-0, you know, if you go down 3-0, it's going to be a problem. And I've relaxed a little bit. You know, I was getting a little emotional watching the game. We got to realize what we talked about is we got to realize that these refs are calling some borderline plays for the Devils and Rangers, you know?
Yeah.
So it's really staying out of the box moving forward. Timo with a silly penalty at the end of that period.
Yeah, there's a couple of things there, right? Timo, you know, we talked about this. He had to bring in more of that physicality to this series. You need him to be that presence. The Rangers have made a concerted effort to punish him consistently and be physical with him. So there's been a lot of wear and tear for him there. The other thing that you and I were discussing, not arguing about, but discussing, was the idea that the dump and chase method is a dangerous one for the Devils right now because you're talking about trying to then get over the physicality of the Rangers, whereas when they've gained the offensive zone, effective on the power play, some of the best power plays that we've seen here from the Devils, they just need to be willing to use their speed, to me, gain the zone, settle down, get some clean passes. It hasn't been perfect because over the first period, those crisp connections were not there. Saw a lot more of it in that second period, though.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, it's playing the dump and chase game is playing similarly to the Rangers and playing their style of play.
Yep.
I think it's a good and a bad thing. Reason why it's a good thing is we're simplifying our game.
Yep.
We're getting more of those connecting passes that are through the neutral zone that are very clean and concise passes to dump it in the zone. Now it's about forechecking. Now it's about really grinding it out on the boards, playing your game, but being quicker in our offensive zone, finding the open man in the slot, finding the open man at the point, and really developing the offense, you know, in our final third.
Devils survive the power play there at the end of the second period as well. 4th of the evening for the Rangers. They now finish 4 of 14 so far through this series, so they've gotten better in that regard.
Absolutely.
They also switched up on the other side of it. Ruff flipped the power play lines there. The second unit's been a little bit better. That's what got the ball rolling, and then it actually ends up being the first unit that gets the goal. So, you know, we talk about Lindy sometimes and making too many adjustments, tinkering too much. But when you're down 0-2 in a series, when you're staring danger in the face, you have to be willing to make some of these decisions on the fly. For the most part, I think he's pushed some of the right buttons here. Schmid in goal. You know what's funny, man? Schmid has looked good. Nothing, no two ways about it. End of that second period, pins himself to that post, really prevents some opportunities. Little somersault. Wasn't sure what that one was. But I do find it kind of ironic that I wouldn't even say that, you know, the switch had to be made. It's just the team overall is playing better,
right.
So it makes the goaltending job that much easier.
You need a spark, right? And I think the only thing that we might have been expecting was Luke Hughes to be put into the lineup.
I'm surprised, but yeah.
But everything that Ruff did, to me, was the right moves. Kevin Ball has been phenomenal, and I think that he's going to be one of our top 4 defensemen moving forward next year. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that already. He's
thinking too far ahead.
I am thinking too far ahead. But for now, this is going to be our biggest period of the year, obviously, going into the third period, 1-1. Played great on the penalty kill. Schmid's been having a great game. Devils need to, like Adam said, generate that offense, do what we do best, generate that speed through the neutral zone from our defensive zone, crisp passes through the neutral zone, entry into the zone, get on that forecheck. I think Tuna is going to be one of the biggest factors in this third period, keeping puck possession behind the Rangers' net, getting that dirty goal, man. We've been talking about it. You know, it's going to be very difficult to beat Igor, you know, from points from the shot, unless you're getting so much traffic in front of the net. You got to rely on those dirty goals in front, those rebounds, those pucks that are loose in front of the net, and really, really using that momentum to push forward with these vets, especially, that can get those dirty goals.
I agree with you. I think, listen, Hughes has been good for moments. He's been bad at spots. He got the goal, so there's no two ways about that. But him getting this puck into that final zone is going to be critical. And let's look at Jesper Bratt. It's been very touch and go here in this game. And frankly, he has the speed and the ability to help set some things up. But you're going to need got to all pull in the same direction here because one lapse we've seen the Rangers are very calculated in their counterattacks. It doesn't take them a lot to get set up in the offensive zone on power plays or otherwise. You've seen the Devils scramble defensively just to defend against 5-on-5 scenarios. So
of course,
got to play clean.
And you and I talk about it all the time, right? The officiating is never going to be to blame on a loss. Usually, you know, 99.9% of the time.
Danny's coming close to
you're going to get emotional, right? You're going to get emotional when it's your team. So you have to understand as a Devils player, the Devils themselves, no matter what, Lindy Ruff's got to be in that locker room saying, listen, guys, borderline calls are getting called. Bratt and Timo took stupid penalties. Those are interference calls. Those are borderline calls, maybe, but the refs are playing it tight. They're going to call power plays. The NHL's been doing it the entire playoffs. He's got it on.
Keep talking.
Oh my God, I can feel the power. You got a prediction for period 3, or should we not even do a prediction? Because I'm nervous.
Buddy, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, if the Devils don't win this game, obviously the series is all but over. They're not coming back from down 0-3. I am going to call for another goal here from the Devils. You can't only score 1 goal per game over 3 games and expect to have any other result than a loss.
Agreed.
Defense has to play tight. I think they have it in them here.
Me too.
Lean into the speed, lean into the finesse side of things, and allow guys like Ball, guys like Timo, they got to do the physical end of stuff. But everybody else, get back home to what you are. You can outskate these guys. Get yourself home, set up those shots, and Danny said it, traffic in front of the net, get some looks from the point. I think you can get another goal past Shesterkin here, but this may come down to being a 3-2 game, a 2-1 game. And that's a surprising scoreline. I would not think the Devils could get a win on a low-scoring game, but that may be what it takes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we beat the Rangers 2-1 in our last game. We played them in the regular season.
Yep.
And you might have those types of games against this team. Look at the game now, So it's tight defensively. This, again, goes into playing into the Rangers' hands, and we need to push more toward our game even more.
Yep.
We had a solid 2 periods.
Make them chase, make them chase, make them chase.
We had a solid 2 periods. Penalty kill is a lot better. Schmid is a lot better. Lines are moving. Line changers are great. Defense is playing stronger. Look for Dougie Hamilton to score a goal. He was close on hitting that post. I like the way he's moving on the point. I like the way he's spreading the ice out. And if it's not Dougie Hamilton, look for someone like Nico, because Nico is playing.
Don't hate him a cloud one here too, by the way.
Yeah, McConnell's playing great too. Yep. But again, he took a bad penalty.
He did.
It's a lot of Devils have taken bad penalties this series. Play tough, but play your game. You can play tough and still play Devils hockey. That's the thing that we all have to remember. We're a fast team. Play physical, but play with speed.
Third period to come here. Devils season on the line. We'll break it all down in the postgame audio. Devils Puck Luck podcast at the end of the third period. The game is not yet over because a 1-1 tie through regulation. Again, we talked about it following that second period there. This has been the best game by far the Devils have played, the most consistent. We didn't see nearly as much, though, at least for me, stretching of the ice, using their speed. Still kind of playing the Rangers game there through the third.
Yeah, they are. But, the great thing is they're not making the mistakes, right? They're being cautious. They're not taking chances that they know aren't there, which is a very good thing, especially against this Ranger team that will capitalize on mistakes.
Another penalty taken there, though, in that third period. 5th power play for the Rangers. The Devils have miraculously survived them. My only concern now is about the tired legs taking 10 penalty minutes over the 3 periods and now going to overtime.
Listen, there's going to probably be power plays in overtime, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Devils and the Rangers both have one. Hopefully the Devils get a power play right away and score, because unfortunately we have not scored a 5-on-5 goal in these 3 games. So it's got to happen sooner or later. We hope that we get that puck luck, because all it takes is a bounce off the boards, weird carom off the backboards, and we win the game.
If I'm being honest with you, this does feel like it's coming down to a special moment from a Jack Hughes here. When you think about this third period alone, the Rangers were still getting into the offensive zone comfortably. A couple of turnovers trying to get it out of there defensively for the Devils. By and large, a clean period. But the Rangers are much more comfortable right now operating the final third. Devils still trying to connect a couple of those
You're seeing the veteran experience, right? You're seeing that they're an experienced hockey team that knows exactly how to play a playoff game. And the Devils are learning. They're learning on the fly. We learned what it is to get our butts kicked in the first 2 games. And I really hope that sparked the Devils to understand and realize that they're not going to win at the Rangers game, where you're extremely physical and think that you're going to get scoring chances off of it, because you're not against this team.
And got to play smart here too, because one thing the Devils have done by being in a 1-1 game, the crowd has at least been taken out of it, right? And that was a danger there. You go down 1-0, 2-0 early in this game, MSG is going to come to life. We know it's obviously a heck of a place to try to play there, but the Devils have a really good road record. So
we do. And listen, the thing is that we're a young team, and right now it comes down to taking the chances. It's overtime. We're down 2-0. I know that we're playing a little conservative in that third period. Maybe that's a good thing, in the sense that they were worried about the penalty kill, just playing a little more defensive hockey in that last 4 or 5 minutes. Fine. We move past the third period. Now it's time, like you said, I want to see Jack Hughes enter the zone and split the D and take a chance. Now is the time to do it. Again, I still think Nico is going to be a big factor moving forward. He's been flying all over the ice. He seems to be playing with such a purpose tonight. The reason why he's our captain. He's sparking this team on the ice. And listen, Kevin Ball, I'm gonna repeat it. He has had such a great game.
Yeah.
He really has had a great game. And the defense has to get involved to give our offensive guys the scoring
I
chances.
was going to give the quick tip of the cap to Marino, who's done a really nice job in front of Schmid there, really working the Rangers out from in front of the net for the most part. A couple instances there in the third where just gave you that little bit of a gut check around making sure you're in that marking spaces, especially on the power play. But listen, third period coming up here, like you said, come out, play fast, overtime, etc. Get out there and skate fast, though. Do you run the risk of exposing yourself on the back end if you push? Yes, and I do think that's why, whether it's Hischier, whether it's Hughes, a special moment from an individual affords you the ability to play smart hockey in behind them and mitigate some of those risks.
Yeah, I think you can play aggressive. Love it. I think you can play aggressive and take some chances, but still be responsible at the same time. Meaning, just make sure you know who is on the ice with you. Make sure you know who your defensive pairing is.
Smart
Make
shifts.
sure you know if the guys are tired on those specific lines, especially defensive pairings. You just
making the prudent puck dump when you know you need to get someone off the ice.
Listen, if Dougie Hamilton's been on the ice for a minute and 5, and you see Jack Hughes splitting the defense, trying to pass it back to the point, and Hamilton pinches, that's when you're going to get an odd-man rush if you see a tired defensive pairing. But again, the Rangers team is they're a tough defensive team. You know, they're a tough defensive team.
Season on the line here.
Yeah, Igor's one of the best goalies in the league. Just take these chances, you know, and the Devils can win, and this whole series is going to change.
Yeah, we know, down 2-0, but then all of a sudden it's 2-1.
Yeah.
Then there's a little bit of that pressure and momentum shift onto the Rangers here. Come out, fire, get this overtime win. We'll be back in breaking it down in the postgame. Devils Puck Luck Podcast post-game after the overtime. You could obviously make the assumption victory for your New Jersey Devils, 2-1 on
Dougie Hamilton, baby. What a goal. What a shot. The series has completely changed. 2-1 coming into Monday night, game 4. What a game. I mean, you can't write it up any better than that, right? The Devils, you saw, started taking over that overtime period with about 5-6 minutes in, just started playing their game. And look what happens when they play their game.
Well, you know what? It's tired legs for the Rangers. Oddly enough, we're watching this with family, cousin John, brother John, saying the longer the game goes, hopefully the younger legs for the Devils actually pays dividends. And it did, because to your point, about midway through that overtime, all of a sudden the Devils were on the front skate, doing a much better job in the defensive zone, boarding, getting that thing out of there. And then, listen, let's be clear. There were a couple of sequences there that got a little bit hairy, some really ugly neutral zone passes, but we said coming out of that third period, going into overtime, somebody was going to have to take over, have a bit of a special moment. And frankly, man, we listed his name as being questionable in his performance tonight. Jesper Bratt set up a lot of those sequences in this overtime, and he led to this goal.
Listen, Jesper Bratt had a phenomenal overtime.
Yep,
had
the legs.
He sparked the team. Nico with some great defensive plays in the neutral zone as well. I'm going to say this right now. Akita Schmid, absolutely incredible, and he is your starting goalie for the rest of the playoffs. There's no question to me. He was absolutely phenomenal. He made some unbelievable saves in overtime, scrambling pucks in front of the net. Listen,
good positioning.
Yeah, Kevin Ball and Graves had a few turnovers. They looked a little tired on the ice. There were long shifts in that overtime. Made some mistakes. Schmid bailed them out. A lot of our offensive guys bailed out their defensemen too, coming back on the puck, being responsible defensively, like we always talk about. Getting up and down the ice and making smart, crisp passes, and they did that.
And let's be honest, I mean, Schmid had a fantastic game, but go back to the first 2 games. It was never about any one individual player. It was the collective effort from this team and it just not being there at both ends of the ice. So tonight, for the most part, through 3 periods and then into that overtime, everyone was kind of pulling in the same direction. Right now, the question becomes, you get back into this series, obviously 2-1, entirely different going into game number 4. They took 2 games off your home ice. Your job now is to get this thing back neutral and steal another one. And hopefully the tired legs, again, impact how the Rangers come out in game number 5. 4.
Yeah, let's remember we were one of the best road teams in the league.
Yep.
You know, we're comfortable playing on the road.
28 victories, I believe, on the road? 29?
No, more than that. We started like 23-2 on the road in 25 games.
We'll check the tape on it, but it's 28, 29, 9-3, something like that. I got the numbers right, but we'll go ahead.
The crazy thing about it is you look at this, and the Devils were completely dominated in 2 games. And it's very easy to make a series of this now. You know, you take, like you said, 2 games at MSG. I think it benefited the Devils getting away from their home arena. I think that they were really pressing in front of their home fans. They wanted to make a statement being the young dogs, the young core coming into the playoffs. And you saw a lot of that pressure. You definitely did.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put everything on Vitek. You cannot put everything on Vitek for the first 2 games. But no matter what happens, like I said, I'm going to go back to it. Akita Schmid was absolutely incredible. And I think you agree with me that he starts the rest of the playoffs.
You always go with the hot hand, obviously, when it comes to goaltending especially. And listen, for better or worse, the team sparked while he was between the pipes. So you go ahead and you carry that same energy. We go into game 4. And the idea here is now the pressure does switch a little bit back to the Rangers. Obviously, they're still up in the series, but this is your last home game before you go back to Prudential Center. So maybe we get a little bit of nerves. Remember, the Rangers have veteran talent, but they have veteran pressure. There's expectations for them in this season and in these playoffs. The Devils maybe, while you prefer not to go down 0-2, maybe it does give them a little bit of that sense of relief of, hey, we do get to play our game. House money here. You're down in a series. Now we know it becomes critical. Where you'll find us between now and that next game is going to be obviously on YouTube at Devils Puck Luck Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at NJDevilsPL, on Instagram,
Devils Puck Luck.
And you're also going to check out at Adam Armbrecht, at Danny the Face, for all things New Jersey Devils. Thank you so much for supporting the post-game podcast. We'll be back in next time where, as it is on the ice, so too let it be all things gravy.
Let's go.
Dougie, come back. We're having fun. That's good.